Little kids are morons. Now you might disagree with me on that, and if you do, it's probably because you don't have kids, or maybe you have a hyperinflated view of your own kids. But my kids are morons. I got 7 of them. All right, they're all morons. Now I'm not saying I don't love them or they're really stupid idiots or anything. I'm just saying that at face value, a kid is not an intellectual giant. A kid does moronic type of things. Their behavior, they make a mess. They do a lot of things that are crazy or frustrating or weird. But even at face value, their talents haven't developed yet. They're not great at they're not physically strong. They're not intellectual speakers. But somehow little kids capture our hearts. They capture our attention, and we love them in an intense way. And I think Jesus puts them at the center of the gospel this Sunday for a pretty profound reason. It's not the only time that we see Jesus do this. He likens the kingdom of God to children. He talks about children being the type of faith model that we all need to have. He says this is how God receives us. And I think for me, that gives me a whole lot of hope. I think for us as Christians, that should give all of us a lot of hope, because a lot of times I don't think we feel very lovable by God. I think if we're honest, we know that we're not very good at following the Lord, that we mess up a lot, that we make mistakes, that maybe we don't have a long list of reasons why God should love us, but sometimes we try and make those up. We try and give God these reasons that he should love us. And in the gospel, when he raises up a child, and he says that this is how he receives us, what that does for us is I think that it allows those things to move to the side, and allows what's central to be our acceptance by God for just who we are. A little child, what they are good at being is pure. That they're a pure-minded, pure-hearted person who is vulnerable, who's honest. You never have to approach a small child, a baby, for instance, in a crib, and say, I need you to be more vulnerable with me. When a child is upset, they cry. When a baby is hungry, they cry. A baby needs to be cleaned up, they cry. And yet, as life goes on, we realize we can't be that vulnerable. We can't be that honest sometimes. And I think that there's something beautiful in God saying, this is what I want, and this is how I love you. Despite the fact that, like I said, at face value, children might not stack up to, the greatest, most talented people in the world as adults. We love them with an intense love. I had a spiritual director once who did this weird thing where I came into him and came into meeting with him, and I had all these things I wanted to talk to him about, things I was kind of struggling with that wanted to discern. And he said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to lay on the floor, and I want you to imagine yourself as a small child. Think of a picture you saw of yourself as a small kid, 5 or 6 years old. And I want you to picture yourself as that small child in the eyes of God right now. And that ended up being really profound for me, just because I realized how much I love my kids. And I realized that I love them mainly because they're mine. So I want to challenge you this weekend to, as you're praying, not necessarily lay on the floor unless you want to, but to picture yourself as a small child in the arms of God, before God, with no other reason that he has to love you or should love you, but besides the fact that you're his. To really relish in the fact that we are loved by God profoundly, because we belong to him, and that's enough.